Hello everybody, welcome back to the Stacey West preview show. I am your host, Jake Tong. We're back for another Sky Bet League One preview this week. We're away at MK Dons. Before we do get into that, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers before the end of 2022. Now, MK Dons away on Saturday, which means we have got Jonathan Harries, big MK Dons supporter. Jonathan, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. Jake had a good start to the year. How about you?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think it's been improved. Just before we go on and actually talk about the actual football, Jonathan, I've not had a chance to speak to you so far this year on our YouTube channel. So tell us what it's like going back to Stadium MK and watching your team in the flesh rather than having to do it through iFollow.
Well, the thing with iFollow was I actually got to watch every single game home and away, but it doesn't beat actually being to the stadium and actually being there and seeing people and socialising and just the general day out. Did my first away day since lockdown last week at Wickham, which was memorable for one reason or another.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly enjoying being back there.
Good, that's what we like to hear. Before we actually get on to the actual football then, it'd be rude not to discuss the January transfer window, a window that MK Dons have done quite well in. A couple of players coming in through the door on deadline day for MK was Kessler Hayden, who had spent the first half of the on loan for Aston Villa at Swindon Town. Then you had Dan Kemp and Matt Smith also join the club permanently. Just tell us about if you're excited about those three signings that have come through the door and what you hope to see from them in the next couple of months.
Well, I think it was important that we replaced 4 of our 5 loans at the first half of the season had actually departed. So Max Waters got called back by Cardiff, which was a surprise to everyone within the club. I think, well, I don't know for sure, but I imagine there was some form of agreement that he'd stay all season. But I think with Cardiff's new manager, he decided to take him back, and then Ethan Robson, who become a bit of a cult hero at MK Dons, he went back to Blackpool to sort out their midfield crisis, and then Peter Chioso, who was an MK lad through and through, he went back to Luton. I don't think he wanted to be back, in all honesty. If you saw the way he celebrated at Portsmouth before he went back. But as for the incomings, I'm really excited about Kessler Hayden. I watched the game against Man City, the FA Cup, and I thought he was absolutely superb.
Yeah.
Matt Smith, I don't think he's been getting much game time really. I know he did well for Doncaster last season when he was on loan with Darren Moore, but I'm not sure he's been getting as much game time. Dan Kemp's the one that I'm not sold on because I just don't know much about him really. But it's just been a case of we're just having to replace probably the best midfielder in League One in Matt O'Reilly, really, which is just a massive hole to fill. Yeah,
you spoke about Matt O'Reilly there, a really good, healthy son coming into the football club, going up to Celtic, and a great opportunity for him. But in terms of have MK Dons won the transfer window because of the players that they kept? Now, I know you let Fisher go off to Swansea City. They were heavily rumoured of Harry Darling following him through the door. Scott Twine was another one that was linked with a move to Forest. He's been on form this year. We'll talk about him sort of towards the back end of the video. But have MK Dons, purely by keeping hold of their players, have they enhanced their chances of promotion?
Absolutely, I totally agree with that sentiment. I mean, we sort of had this impression Fisher was going to be the one to definitely go to Swansea. Obviously, Russell Martin brought him into MK from Blackburn, so there was that connection there. But I personally feel we've got a much better goalkeeper on loan in Jamie Cumming, more commanding, more saves and everything. And well, I think it would have taken something astronomical to honestly get Scott Twine and Harry Darling away from our club, because honestly, well, you know the stats on Scott Twine. He's just been ridiculous this season. He's been an upgrade on Fraser, who was just phenomenal for his season. And Harry Darling he keeps getting better and better. So I'm just so grateful that we've kept pretty much the spine of our team. So yeah, I think it's just enhanced our promotion aspirations.
I think we're doing a bit of injustice to Matt O'Reilly if we don't talk about him. Phenomenal, probably for me the best player in the division for the first half of the season. You'll probably agree with me on that sentiment. What an opportunity it is for him to go up to Celtic, isn't it, and perform on the highest stage of them all.
Well, absolutely, and no better game than tonight for the Old Firm derby for his third game there. I don't think Aaron Ramsey. I can't remember if Aaron Ramsey is going to make his debut as well.
He might do. Yeah, he might do. Yeah.
So, but as you say, you can't turn down a big club like Celtic. You can't turn down the money. And to be honest, I think we were lucky to get him because technically he was one of the best midfielders, no matter where he played. His best position was deeper, but he could play one of the three roles up top, and he was just, I don't know, just an honour to watch him, really.
Yeah, it was a very nice finish at Central Bank earlier in the season that O'Reilly scored. Before we, while we're talking about the January transfer window, Jonathan, I'm just curious to see what you thought on our window. Obviously, a lot of attackers have come in through the building. Marquis, Ben House, Charlie Kendall, Morgan Whittaker, Liam Cullen. You've been impressed considering how far we are down in the table?
Well, I honestly think that was the missing piece that you needed in your squad. I was quite surprised that you didn't get the strike. I think it's been well publicised that you missed out on Whittaker in the summer due to the manager at Swansea. Well, I'm not going to name. But all joking aside, I think you've just rectified the issue that you were missing. Obviously, John Marquis has been there, done it at this level. I think he's got 2 in 2 since he's got there. Ben House is a curious one for me. I think that's a good project to have going forward. I don't really know much about Liam Cullen or the other one you've got, but I just think that was missing. I think you had a good basis of a really strong League One side, just missing the top end, really.
Yeah, let's talk more about MK Dons then. Fourth in League One, the best of the rest, considering there's Sunderland, Rotherham and Wigan that look to be running off of the division at this minute in time. Are MK Dons getting promoted, Jonathan? I'm going to lay it out on the table.
Well, our playoff record's not that good, to be honest. And I think playoffs is probably the more realistic of the promotion options. I think Wigan have got too many games in hand to mess it up. Rotherham, you saw last night, just keep doing what they do, even though they've had a little bit of a blip. So I've always said if we can get playoffs this season, that would be amazing. Considering we lost our manager right at the start of the season, we got a new manager in. It's not his players, and he still managed to keep us competitive. I don't think we've been outside the top 10 all season. I could be wrong, but I just think that this squad definitely has got the playoff potential to it.
And it's been about a year since you last came to Central Bank, and obviously, we beat you 4-1 last season. Given a special player scored a hat-trick in that game. Just tell us about the transformation in MK Dons from getting beat 4-1 at Central Bank towards the back end of last season to seriously challenging at the top of the division this year.
Well, I think a lot of credit's got to go to Liam Sweeting, who's done a lot of the recruitment. He did a lot of it with our previous manager, Russell Martin. I never thought we'd get someone like Mo Iser and Troy Parrott coming in the same summer. Ethan Robson, he was really good when he was here. Obviously, we had Matt O'Reilly. Getting Scott Twine for what's been reported less than $500,000 is an absolute steal for me. And we just seem to be getting these young, hungry players coming in, and it just seems to have clicked just like that, really. I think our average age is about 23, which I think is what was your average age when you did well last season? I think you had quite a young squad.
Yes,
then.
around 22. I think
yeah, so I just think that it just for some reason it's just clicked. Our away form's been ridiculous. I think we're only second to Wigan or someone in the away form. Our home form could be slightly improved, but it's still not bad. I think if Doncaster weren't in the league, we could be even better because we've dropped 6 points to Doncaster this season. So, yeah, really, really excited.
Now, you mentioned earlier you went on your first away day down to Wickham, down to Adams Park. Obviously, a game that stirred controversy off the pitch rather than on it. But on the pitch, a great win, 1-0. And all I've written next to that is Twine again. Talk me through
it. Absolutely. I mean, there wasn't much in the game. You know what you're going to get from Wickham. They're just going to launch balls up top. Ainsworth admitted post-match that he maybe should have started with Sam Vokes because he started with Brandon Hanlon up top. And he's not the most physical of strikers. We got the early goal. Theo Corbeanu, who Sheffield Wednesday fans couldn't believe that Wolves sent him back. He's just hit the ground running. He had the shot parried and Twiney was in the right place to finish. And we could have had more. Corbeanu had a header save. Parrott had a good chance. And just we saw out the game in a very un-MK Dons way, as dealing with the high balls and clearing and just getting rid of it. And it was a brilliant away day, obviously, apart from what happened off the pitch. But to go above your local rivals and win at their ground is just a perfect away day, really.
You mentioned Theo Corbeanu there, a player that Lincoln have nearly signed twice this season, but been beaten at the final stage by Sheffield Wednesday and MK Dons, it appears. Just tell us a little bit about him and the player that we thought we were going to get, and then he's obviously gone on and done brilliantly for you guys so far. Obviously, the goal at Pompey, I think everyone would have seen.
Absolutely. I mean, he came in and made his debut at home to AFC Wimbledon. You could see right then that he was some player. He gets the ball and he runs at players. He's probably a bit like Morgan Rogers was for you guys back at the end of last season, probably to an extent. Brennan Johnson, just he gets the ball, he runs, he takes defenders on. He's just not afraid, and it's brilliant to watch as a fan. And he's just become a cult hero within less than 5 games already, just with his energy and his drive. And it just gives us a different dimension up top, really.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying Jonathan. Right, Lincoln 2, MK Dons 3. We'll talk about that game a little bit in detail. Obviously, MK Dons went 2-0 up against MK Dons by giving away 2 daft goals. The own goal from O'Hara and then the complete stupidity from the left wing back to pick the ball up inside his own penalty area. And just what were you thinking at that point? Because honestly, in the sat in the co-op stand, we were all sort of a little bit bemused that MK were this really good team and they'd just come and let Lincoln, who hadn't scored in about 9 hours, come and score 2 in 8 minutes.
Well, to be honest, it was the sort of thing I was expecting. We don't really have that good a record at Sincil Bank from memory. I remember going there in League 2 and losing to a last-minute header, I think, or last few minutes.
Shackle.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously the 4-0 behind closed doors was a bit meh. But yeah, I don't think from memory, because I listened to it on commentary, the commentator said that there was a bit of nervousness coming out in the second half from your fans, and for somehow second half we just turned up, and obviously it goes down as a Twine winner, but I think if it didn't hit Regan Poole, it was definitely going wide, and that just seemed like a vital win. Just after Christmas, we'd had a couple of games postponed over Christmas due to COVID, and it just seemed to get the confidence going into the new year.
Right, go on, tell us about Scott Twine then. I know you've been dying to tell us how good he is, because I think everyone's sort of seen it over the last 6 months or so, but from an MK perspective, just tell us how good a player he really is.
Well, just words fail me to describe how good he is. I think when Scott Fraser left, it was like, right, who's going to step up? But we already had Twiney in the building scored a great free kick on his debut. Then went to Ipswich and scored another great free kick. He then got a fantastic hat trick at home to Fleetwood. I think that was a free kick and 2 absolute pearlers. And just his energy and his determination. He gets kicked about the park, left, right, and centre, but still gets up and tries and tries. And he did go for a bit of a lean spell, but he's just come back. He scored the 2 winners the last 2 games. 95th minute beauty against Burton when we should have been out of sight in that game, in all honesty. And obviously at the weekend he pops up in the right place, and I just feel so fortunate to have him at the club.
Yeah, and Saturday then obviously we're making the trip down to Buckinghamshire. Quite a few fans are going to be coming down. Are you expecting an exciting game, or are we thinking it's going to be more of a routine home win?
I think it's going to be a tight game. Normally the fixtures between ourselves are normally tight games, minus that 4-0 the other year. But yeah, there's normally tight games, and I think you're bringing over 1,000 fans. Yeah. I read somewhere, and so I think that's going to add to the atmosphere. I think there's going to be some real interesting battles sort of in midfield. I think if you can keep Corbeanu quiet down the right-hand side, but then it's whether we pick Kessler Hayden or Watson behind him, who are both direct runners. Obviously, you've got Twiney on the other side. It'll be interesting to see if Poole stays at centre-back or whether he goes to right-back to cover Twiney. It's whether we can keep Marcus quiet, because he's got a tendency of scoring against us. He's
brilliant. That is really what we want to hear. So, you gave us a bit of encouragement earlier, and you said that your home form wasn't as good as your away form. Can Lincoln come to Stadium MK, like we have done in the last couple of weeks, gone to bigger teams and played against them and come out with results we're not expecting? Can Lincoln come to Stadium MK on Saturday and walk away with 3 points?
Well, as you say, your previous history, you've beaten Sunderland, Oxford and Plymouth recently. So when you face the big boys, there's no fear. Appleton's a fantastic tactician, so he'll know exactly how we play. He'll know when to press, and he'll know when not to press. And I said, if we can get through this month, because we've got you guys, we've got Ipswich, we've got Sunderland, we've got Charlton, we've got Rotherham at the start of March. If we can get through this next few weeks and still picking up the points and still being in the playoffs, then we stand a great chance. I just think your position in the league shouldn't be underestimated.
And a score prediction, Jonathan. I'm really gonna push you.
I'm gonna back us 2-1. I'm gonna go Mo to score, because Gary always says that Mo always scores against Lincoln. And I'm gonna say Troy Parrott. He deserves a goal over his last couple of performances. He's really stepped up, and I just feel that Troy needs a goal just to boost his confidence.
Well, I mean, we're sort of hoping for something completely different, Jonathan, if we're honest. But thank you very much for coming on, Jonathan, and giving us an MK point of view. I know there's not really many of you about to give one of those point of views, but we'll. That's
it. Get the dig in.
Well, we might as well call you franchise while we're here. Anyway, anything you want to plug, Jonathan? Anything? I know you were part of a website and you do a show with Dan, 18 Dapper as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I do the League One show with 18 Dapper the odd Sunday when there's like a double header week, and then about 6:30 every night, me, Dan and Jake. And then I do voluntary work for the MKDSA as well. So I get the fans' thoughts from the opposition. So I've managed to get I've been from your podcast to.
Oh God help you, Jonathan. God help you. You'd be falling asleep while reading it.
Oh, so yeah. So I've got that coming up, and then also obviously you've got the lads over at MK1 podcast, Liam, Ross, and Joe, do a stellar job reviewing games and previewing games. So that's definitely worth a listen before you come visit us on Saturday.
And your Twitter handle, Jonathan, do you want to throw that out there for where people can find you?
So I'm at Harries Don 87. So I basically talk all things MK Dons. Whether you listen to them or not, or read them or not, is completely up to you. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, some really good stuff on Jonathan's Twitter. I would very much urge you to go and check it out. Anyway, thank you for coming on, Jonathan. Massively appreciated. Thank you everybody else for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back next week for another League One preview. Thank you very much for watching.